Introducing percentages. Hit play, copy the lesson objective down. And the keywords, once you've done that, hit play and we'll move on to the starter. Okay, so our starter for today, 2 questions. Hit pause, attempt them. Once you've done that, hit play again. Okay, so question 1, we want to simplify these fractions. I'm just looking for a bit of room. So for A, we've got to simplify 15 over 40 or 15 divided by 40. So we've got to simplify it. So I'm going to divide to make it smaller. What goes into 15 and into 40? Well, that would be 5. 5 goes into both of them. They're both in the 5 times table. 15 divided by 5 is 3 and 40 divided by 5 is 8. So that's equal to 3 over 8. Okay, make sure you show your workings. 70 over 30. Let's see if I've got some room here. 70 over, the other way around, 30 over 70. And what goes into the numerator and the denominator? That would be 10. 30 and 70 both in the 10 times table. 30 divided by 10 is 3. 70 divided by 10 is 7. So that's going to be 3 over 7. For C, 18 divided by 22. What goes into the numerator and what goes into the denominator? Well, you divide by 2. Goes into both of them. And you end up with 18 divided by 2, which is 9. 22 divided by 2, which is 11. So 9 over 11. Let's do part D over here. 70 divided by 90. What goes into both of those numbers? That would be 10. Oops. Divided by 10, numerator and denominator. 70 divided by 10 is 7. And 9 divided by 10 is 9. So 7 over 9. 8 out of 10. Let's see if I can put my workings here. 8 and 10 are both divisible by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. And the last one, 25 divided by 55. What goes into the numerator and denominator? That would be 5. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 55 divided by 5 is 11. Okay. And number 2, what fraction of these grids are shaded? Well, these are 100 squares. Let's just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 times 10 is 100, so it's out of 100. 10 red squares are shaded, so that's going to give us 10 out of 100. I can simplify that. Divide by 10 for the numerator, divide by 10 for the denominator, gives us 1 out of 10. Here 20 out of 100 are shaded, so for B you should have 20 out of 100. We can simplify that though. Divide the numerator. I'm going to divide by quite a large number now. 20 divide by 20. Oops, I should have put a 10 there. And 20 divided by 20 is 1, and 100 divided by 20 is 5. Here we got 40 out of 100. And when I look at it, it's very similar to B, because 20 goes into the numerator and denominator. Should be an arrow, and that will give me 40 divided by 20 is 2, 100 divided by 20 is 5. And finally, we've got 10, 20, 30, 40 columns, 43. So that gives me 43 out of 100. Can't simplify that any further. So you know what to do now. Rag, rate and comment on your work. So you can do that now. Make your corrections. Once you've done that, hit play and we'll move into the conversions. So percentage just means out of 100. So percentage is just a fraction out of 100. If I have here, I've got here 200 squares. So if I shade some squares, it's going to be out of 100, so that gives me the percentage. As an example, if I look at the blue squares that have been shaded, 10 of them out of 100 have been shaded, which means I've got 10% shaded. 10% means 10 out of 100. Here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, twice, so that's 20 out of 100, which is 20%. Percent means out of 100. Okay. So first we're going to look at changing percentages into decimals. Like you say, percent means out of 100, so if you've got 35%, it means I've got 35 out of 100, or divided by 100. And as a decimal, if I divide 35 by 100, remember we move the decimal point back 2 places because of 2 zeros, that's 0.35 as a decimal. 70%, percent means out of 100, so you write 70 over 100. That's going to be equal to, remember, dividing by 100, move the decimal point back 2 places, so that's going to give me 0.7 as a decimal. 5% is one you've got to watch, be careful. 5 divided by 100. Well, if we're dividing 5 by 100, the decimal point is on the end here, so that means we're going to move it back 2 places because we're dividing by 100. So it ends up here, which is 0.05. Okay, so that's going to be 0.05 as a decimal. Got to be careful because a lot of people just look at 5 and write 0.5. Don't do that because that's 50%. Okay, good. What I want you to do now is hit pause, copy these 3 examples down in your book. Once you've done that, hit play, and we'll look at changing percentages into fractions. Okay, so we're looking at changing percentages into fractions. As we said earlier, a percentage is simply a fraction out of 100. So 30% is simply 30 out of 100, which is already a fraction. However, I want to simplify that if I can. If I see what can go into 30 and into 100, okay, and I've got to make sure I can divide both the numerator and denominator by the same number. In this case, 10 goes into both 30 and 100, so I can divide by 10. That gives me 3 over 100 divided by 10 is 10. If you look at this one here, 65%, so that means 65 out of 100. And that's a fraction, because it's out of 100. But I can simplify that. I'm looking at what goes into 100 and goes into 65. Well, I can go with 5. 65 divided by 5 is 13. And 100 divided by 5 is 20. Remember, if you're not sure, use a bus stop. Okay? You could be doing 65 divided by 5. And that goes 1, carry 1. 13. And finally, I've got 12%, so that's going to be 12 divided by 100. And I want to simplify that. So what goes into 12 and into 100? Well, I'm going to go with 4. 4 goes, so divide by 4 and divide by 4. 4 goes into into 12 3 times. And 4 goes into 100 25 times. Okay. Right, as before, 3 examples. I want you to hit pause, copy them down. Once you've done that, I've got some classwork for you. Okay, so for your classwork, start at question 3. We can miss out question 4, so you don't have to do question 4, and then carry on through the rest of them. 5, 6 and onwards, 7, 8. And when you can turn the page over, finish that. So the only one you don't have to do is question 4. Okay, good luck.